Hi everyone, it's Adrian Leah. This will be a reading. I've been really honing into shark energy lately, so that's going to be an animal totem, and it's just such a strong, focused energy, drive, um, intense protector, one that really goes for things and that it's really an energy that you hone into when you're going for something that you want or like going for the kill, kind of. And to finish something, to accomplish something, even having a sixth sense in a way where it has sensory organs that can detect prey in the ocean. Also smelling blood. So there could be the instinct to sense when something is lurking, sense when there's danger, sense when to do this and when to do that. So there's like a high protection energy. If it's not you protecting somebody else, it feels like others um, honing in to make sure that you accomplish what you accomplish. And there's a sense of strong confidence in the air, being like, this is it, this is it's gonna be. So I'm gonna start pulling out cards. It'll be from the Yokai Tarot, the Ukiyo Tarot, and then the Kitsune Oracle. And so another energy that has been around is 555, and I've been seeing it a couple of times. So that could be like the changes that are necessary. Because it doesn't, it feels like at this time, if there is hesitation, you're not acting on hesitation. I'm going to start playing the cards. Because it feels like something that is is part of like the essence of life, is part of some type of journey that you're taking, or the next step, or going into something that's new. There might have been things or people or situations that didn't make it, and I was getting that from like there was another reading too that had that energy, because the words that I'm getting are like forget me. So which is interesting, because I'm also feeling like it doesn't feel like the energy is necessarily wanting you to forget, but maybe that was just the thing of what happened, of how the cards played out. And maybe it wasn't just so spontaneously done. It could have been kind of, I don't want to say planned, but based off of what the behavior was, based off of like what was said in this instance or that instance. There's like situations that maybe they tried to hide, or even was kind of careless about. And then it wasn't even just finding out in an instant. It was kind of like, it feels like detective work of, they were in this situation, they were being super um maybe secretive or like planning things in a certain way. And so instead of going with it, in a way you went with it, but at the same time, like you tried to catch them off guard. And in those moments, you see how people react and their behavior and what they do and how they treat you. Same thing with like if you left somebody behind or there was like a situation that you moved forward from, it was like dirty energy. And it's those times when it's not how they treated you or how they acted when they were happy, it's what happens when they don't get what they want. And it reveals so much. And the times when you caught them off guard were times when you were like picking up on certain clues or um, how they draw back and how they um, don't know how to react and how there's like some hesitation or how like there's some gaps in the conversation or things that aren't aligning or um, this little secret, that little secret that just don't feel necessary to be in that conversation. There just seems to be stuff that stuff that can't be unseen. That was like one of the biggest things. Like even if you wanted to keep energy in your life, there's like energy of like major changes and major things that have happened and that you ended up picking up on and things that your eyes have either if it's not your eyes like your ears heard but something in general once you've seen that or once you've heard that it can't be unseen, it can't be unheard because now it's like this person is this in your life because now they can't be this in your life because they're not the situation's not stable enough or it's not trustworthy enough or it's not like worthy of being more than what that is because that's what the energy came at you like. It's pretty shameful to be honest because on the other side because it's like doing someone dirty when they were so open and genuine to you. So that could be another thing of being mindful of how we carry ourselves and things that make us glow now because this it if you don't believe in karma it feels like energy basically of moving up in the world because it almost feels like a reward of that kindness or the generosity that you put in and not going back to try to maybe get revenge in that way, but the revenge is the creation of light. The revenge is literally to. I was getting the word like resurrect, so that's interesting, and it's also it was Easter last week, and also technically Easter this week, depending on when you celebrate. So happy Easter. Um, and like some type of elevation that just comes out like life just gets better for you after all of that. Um, and I feel like the guides and the totems and the guides slash totems and people around you, they see how you carry yourself in that situation, out of that situation, in future, in what to maybe feel like you'll be like in future situations because you just maybe left with dignity and respect and um, kept that with you and kept it going. And of course, it's not the most happy process, and it's just so telling. I love getting these energies. It just seems like these decks go really well together. Um, of just making something out of when maybe they took stuff away from you and you literally created light out of it. You created the best thing out of it. You were the best thing out of it. You were the light. And like basically that secret sauce in their life. And it it honestly is pretty sad because of all like those attributes and the happy things that could have generally been there, and it's just like I feel like the other energy is feeling a loss. If it's not a person, it could be like a situation that didn't go as expected. Even when you put like the effort in to try to make it worthwhile for everyone. I feel like I'm also getting like karma caught up. And so, in saying like the other cards that turned over, it looks like the cards want to talk. Two of Wands in the world. So, there's definitely new things ahead. And these are like major changes or a big, um, like moment or even like glowing time because it just seems like something better just showed up because um, of how badly that situation just tried to make you be, or how it tried to like make you end up to be. But the thing is, like, it's it's like it's weird because it's like maybe dropped glass or like a dropped vase, but it doesn't break. It's something that is actually stronger, a lot stronger than might be like the perception of what they were thinking about. And there's also like the idea of doing things your way in it. But I mean, of course, you think about maybe how it affects other people, but at the same time, like this Two of Wands, I'm getting like not giving the pen and paper to somebody else. Like if you have something that you're doing in life and um it's not like signing your life away for somebody else to dictate what to do. And another card that turned over is the Five of Cups. I really feel like there's energy of like feeling some type of way about how this all transpired, maybe how things were revealed. I don't feel like it's a bitter energy, but it's like something where it's just it's not a happy feeling. Of course, it's not a happy feeling when somebody or a situation does you dirty and you're like, well, damn, I was genuinely trying my best to put something authentic and pure and like um not screwing somebody over, and somebody thought like this could be like an opportunity to do that because um she or he seems weak, or she or he seems like she'll just go with whatever, and then they realize that this person definitely does not go with whatever, and this person is not just like um like a weak ass. Like they actually um have some bass in their voice in a way where they just because you're nice it doesn't mean that you're weak. And that was like one of the biggest um epiphanies, I guess, when it comes to that person or the situation that even to the end this person was like, no, I'm not going to conform to you because just because it's not um something that I agree with. It's not something that was in my it's not something that's like in my toolbox. Or I was gonna say something about like people wanting to like swap destinies in a way where they see something that looks really good like with your destiny because of what you worked for and like what you've been through, and how you've overcome things and how you still presented yourself, or like how you present yourself now because of what has happened. And they're just like, I want that too. And then they try to take the thing that was like meant to be yours, and they can't take something when it's like um if it's meant to happen in your life, like it seems like it's pretty determined to happen in your life. So in the future there is the seven of pentacles, and the seven of pentacles, it is something that it looks like it's gonna be um hard work, but it's hard work that really pays off. Like I'm feeling like specifically really paying off. So it doesn't just mean like literal just money, but it could be the experience of it too. And gaining that experience could open a lot more doors than what you think. Um, so this seems like what was let go before, there's something even more insane like in the works for what's going on. And then you got like the protection from the sentinel here in the dragon energy. Um like son of the dragon type of energy, and um just making sure that you're protected. I feel like there's other energies that try to protect you too because they see your light, or they see, and I'm not just saying like light and dark and everything. I don't feel, I feel like it's more complex than that. And maybe that's coming from a Libra's perspective, and majority of my chart is in Scorpio. But it just feels like other people see your vision too, or they seem like they're really confident in just how you've managed things and the situations that you were put in, and you're still like basically you're still Adrian, you're still like that person that didn't bend over backwards or didn't screw somebody else over just because, well, it could have been easily, they did this to me so I could just like send it back to them in a way. But there's also like kind of a return to sender type of energy too, where it's like they try to like hit you with this. It's not like you're the one who like kind of um formed that type of thing energy, but something just like kind of shielded you to where, and I felt like it's part of like the pureness, and it could be the guides being like um helping you be protected, because there's something so pure about it. Like there's just like if it's chosen energy, if you want to believe in that stuff too, it just feels like something that's so needing to protect the mission that you have in life, or like the things that you do, or the person that you are, because it's just such a something that walks on life, walks on this earth for specific purposes, as like everyone has different purposes in life, but for this specific instance, it just feels like there's a lot of protection going around because of how people and maybe the guides and to higher self, and then maybe like whatever you believe in, the God source, like knows how you are, that when people try to strike you with something dirty, it just like rolls off, or like it doesn't stay on you. It can't stay on you. It's like anointed type of energy, which kind of reminds me of like confirmation when you have specific oil. Confirmation being one of the sacraments, at least that I got like when I was in Catholic school. Um, I went to Catholic school from preschool to senior year of high school, and there's like the anointing oil for the confirmation, and it said that like it's slippery and the scent, and like it repels the devil because it can't like it's like doesn't stay on. It can't stay on. So there's hope. So it's like interesting because you have the creation of light, and then you have like just opposites here, because maybe something was really surrounding you and there's so much darkness, and then there's you that literally had to light your way through this really dark tunnel or this really dark area. And maybe other people guided you too, because it was it was pretty difficult because it's such a intense contrast with these cards. And again with like the protection and keeping it cool, there's something about um your demeanor or disarray when, like the calm disarray when maybe the enemy strikes, or maybe like when some things rise in your face, and then conflict is there, and it could stress a lot of people out, but there's something that's so calming about the energy, about your energy, because literally it's almost as if it's like the energy isn't phased, because it's not reactive the way that maybe another person or um group of people, they were trying to get you to react, but then they realize that this person doesn't flinch. So then you have like call forth the waves. So that's maybe there were people like that you knew, that you trusted, um that were to be trusted for good reasons, and they ended up, even if you didn't call them specifically, they showed up anyway, and they're like, my girl needs my girl needs me, and maybe they showed up back in the, like just in case, or they were like in the shadows and trying to make sure that maybe she doesn't know how to see in the dark, but I do know how to see in this dark, because this is my environment, this is what I'm used to, or what I know, because I'm familiar with this. Because there could be different people, different personalities, that maybe they see other things that maybe you don't see like that. And so there's other like points of view, there's other eyes that just maybe can see things or sense things, or like can protect you from things. But there's high sensory here, like there's extra sensory that can spot something from like miles, thousands of miles away. There's something that's just, if it tries to lurk, if it tries to just trick you, there's something that gets sensed before even, like it gets handled before it even escalates. Like you're sensing the trickery, you're sensing like the predator, or the prey in this, since it's like shark energy, you're sensing something before it tries to get you. But at this point, if it's shark energy and you have the shark energy, it feels like um, there's such a power to your punch. There's like when you have that energy, like you make it count. And then this is like everyday things too. It's the Seven of Wands and keeping it together and keeping on top of things. People can't sense when, at this point, like when you're tired, when you want to, even if you wanted to just throw the towel in or like have the cards and just not even deal with it. It doesn't feel like it's an option with the Seven of Wands. The Seven of Wands just ignites that power because again you're that light. It you realizing you're that sauce and you're just that thing that makes the place what it is, that makes it like excel or makes it um powerful or um such a presence. The obstacle's the hermit because it feels like it's hard to stay away because maybe it's in an environment where you kind of have to be there for certain things. But if there's ways where you're sticking to yourself or you're not like revealing as much because it's not necessary because some people just don't need to be in your energy, that could be something to do too. But it feels like a learning curve as you're going along. So maybe you're observing, maybe you're looking and you're researching and you're really learning as much as you can so that you're up to date on things or staying on top of things when you're up to as you're learning. There's that sense of kind of staying at the top, and when you're staying at the top, you're being resourceful and you're being diligent and you're putting the work in and you're not just like sitting down in your free time, like you're actually doing other things to help, um, and being prepared and being aware and having that sensory. And then sometimes, like, even when you have to sleep, there's other people that might take that shift to help you out because um, there's something resourceful about it. And learning how to not only keep on top for yourself, but also to make sure that um, maybe if someone covers the sky, you cover the land. And then how to overcome the obstacle, you have the wheel. And the wheel, it's not something that's so consistent. And so when stuff arises, when things happen, again, with the shark, we sense it and we know that it's there. So we're not gonna just say, we'll put it off for another time. No, we like kind of get through the problem, solve the problem, maybe even eliminate what is not good. Because if it's like one of those gambling addiction things, it's not the devil card, but the wheel could be the wheel of fortune. Sometimes you take chances, but sometimes you know when maybe this isn't the right time to take such a risk. So there's something about that wheel on how you turn the wheel because there seems like there's more control again when I was talking about not to give away your pen and paper, because you want to be in control of things for certain parts of your life. And whatever you can get help with, you'll greatly appreciate. But it seems like, again, with this wheel, um, there's a certain stance with it and making sure that it aligns with maybe certain virtues that you have because the overall energy is the Queen of Swords. I'm not reading for her energies necessarily, but the archetype is linked, or the court card is linked to Libra or an air sign. So this is like pure, I would say, judge energy, um, pure energy of knowing things, even when a person doesn't think that you know things. Like Libras don't put all their cards out there. Libras kind of they know maybe how to maneuver conversation, maneuver situations. There's like such an elegance to it, like when you get that grace card and knowing how to move in dangerous zones. It was interesting. I had like a conversation with my godbrother because I pick him up from the airport or drop him off at the airport sometimes. And he was literally like, um, just, oh my God, did I just like blank out? um, but when it comes back to me, the Libra isn't gonna reveal all these things. Oh, so there's different family members that, um, so when I was growing up, we had like the crew of, I guess, kids and teenagers, like older ones. I was the baby in my family and overall in that group. Literally the youngest one there. And so there he was talking about how certain family members, how they had certain things that maybe their environment kind of helped mold that part of them. And one of the cousins was like, his cousins was like, this person is more street smart because they grew up in the city. They grew up in Philly, and it's like part of the way that they maneuver things. So there's that perspective. There's just something that, like, this air energy, this Libra, like they know how to navigate the wind. They know the wind. And it's like the wind knows them. And it's like a type of communication in itself. And they know how to read it and they know how to see it. They can tell the differences in fluctuation, or if the air is turning, if it's going to be like a storm, if it's going to rain, if it's going to be like more of a drought. There's something about that sensory that really helps them read the room. Like there's a really like intense energy of reading situations. And this Queen of Swords is just it's like it just feels like she's in, or he's in the zone to do that. And it's like she's not playing this time. I feel like she's grown into this energy where people were just maybe walking all over her and like they thought they could, and then in the end, Libra, or they say like Libra is literally like the like walking karma. Like when you cross a Libra and shit goes down and you try to maybe make her something that she's not, or you try to really take advantage of the specific type of kindness that she has, because there, like, people have different personalities and these are general personalities. It just seems like if they try to take advantage of that, um it's almost like she doesn't even need to lift a finger necessarily. Like the way that she maneuvers certain situations, karma has a way of just presenting themselves to this person. And it's just such an intense energy. And like the disarray that the Queen of Swords has is just like, this is what happens. It's like um consequential for that. There's something like uh the reaction to things, or just the way that things just come about, is so karmic, and it's so not only like with judge energy, like detective energy too, which I also kind of associate with the Scorpio, but with them knowing things again when they have like such high sensory, and maybe they pick things up or they remember things and they put it in their memory bank. It's kind of like one of those things where you document things. It might be important time for you to document things to make sure that you have like X, Y, and Z, because these things could be important. These receipts, these papers that you put together, it may come in use for the future for something specific, or being mindful of how you're maneuvering life. And then, because Libra, it's not so much just one or the other, just like dark and light. It's seeing the whole of situations and seeing how one thing impacts another, impacts another, impacts another. It's why it gets so complex, because it's not just focusing on just two things, it's focusing on basically the whole picture at once. And that's why it gets so intense in like the mind of a Libra, the mind of an air sign, because they're like clockwork. It's just constant movement of the mind, and that's where the exercise, where the stimulation comes from. And that's why like they gain so much experience in that way, because of the way that they maneuver life strategically and tactfully. In the past, you have the Eight of Coins, the Eight of Pentacles, and then it goes back to the future. Back to it goes to in the future position again. You have the Seven of Pentacles, and in the past position, you have the Eight of Pentacles. So it's going backwards. So it's something that I feel that if you are doing something that you have been known for doing, and again, this could link to air sign energy too, that it could be something that people just knew, felt like you loved. Or another trait is that Libras tend to be, generally like to, when they enjoy their work, and it could be in general when they go to work, they make work worth it, type of thing. Like they just feel like they feel like they put the effort in, and it's gratifying in a way. So the Eight of Coins in the past position, it just seems like there's something that was established here, and then something it feels like was either reworked or working backwards. So it could be like an entry into a different path, and that could have been the beginning energy of what I was sensing, where it's like moving forward, and then maybe some things not making the cut. And I don't think it's anything like super serious or honestly personal, but it's just kind of the way that things ended up happening when um and I'm not saying it always has to be where someone screws over another person, but it just seems like for some reason like the energy just wasn't working together, to where maybe it was teaching you it, or maybe it was a part of you at one point, and then you developed and you tended to yourself, um and then you grew, and so some things didn't grow with you. It kind of just was part of maybe that part of your life where things were a little more chaotic, or things were just different if they weren't chaotic. So the other cards are, again, with the Five of Cups, like maybe it doesn't feel the most warranted for this new beginning. It kind of felt like, honestly, a little bit forced, um, because it's not really um, something that you necessarily wanted to do so much. Alongside that, you have the Page of Wands. There's a couple of court cards that actually came out. So then there's the other court card, the Queen of Cups. So these two came out for the reading, and then um, After all that, it's nice that the last card is the Nine of Cups. And alongside that one is paired up with the Ten of Pentacles. So the Ten of Pentacles, it does have different characters here. So, because it has the woman here and it has like wolves on the card too. It doesn't have other human figures. And I'm not saying that it wouldn't be the end result for you to have like other people there. But it just feels like there could have been like who is on your team? Like who is really on your team? And it's something that might be important to ask earlier on than later on when you figure out that like, damn, this person actually isn't as reliable or isn't for me as I thought they were. Maybe it was more advantageous to go with me. But when it came to the times when I actually needed help, they just vanished and they weren't there. This Ten of Pentacles, it's really telling because it looks like so satisfied with who you kept in your circle. Because again, with that detective work with that Queen of Swords energy, it seems like that's one of the main energies here, and it's the overall energy for the main part of the reading. The Queen of Swords like tends to things, like she takes care of things, not just surface level, but in a methodical way. It seems like even if she doesn't show it, there was so much effort that was put into this to where it's actually shocking to some people because based off of her reaction, based off of her um, what she's portraying, it doesn't seem like there was so much done. But then when they see the masterpiece that was set out there, they're just like, when did you, how did you, was I even there? Or it just was like so confusing for this whole situation. Um, it's interesting the Queen of Cups comes with a Page of Wands, and I feel that this could be like the dilemma with certain energies too, because with these two paired here, it just seems like um, obviously with the court card, well, with the court cards, not obviously, there's the Page, Knight, Queen, and King generally, Princess, Prince, Queen, King for other decks. So when you have a page and then a queen here, it just seems like maybe that's part of the backtracking too, or like reevaluating or thinking that there's something that just isn't being reciprocated. There's something that there just isn't um the same amount of, it could even be trust, it could even be like affection or the effort or the love that you put in because um with the Page of Wands here, it feels like, in a way, somebody that doesn't know how to control their fire. So it kind of just burns and attacks things maybe unintentionally sometimes, especially when they're upset. But luckily, the that is put against the Queen of Cups, and the Queen of Cups is like a natural healer. There's something that tends to those wounds, even if it's her own. But it doesn't mean that she's not getting hurt by it, too. I mean, it's fire to water. So at some point, it's like maybe it's so reckless. Um, and it's wondering, like, how much energy am I going to put into tending these wounds? And is it even um, I'm not saying that the Queen of Cups isn't practical. I'm not saying that at all. But it's just like one of those perspectives of this might be more than what is healthy for me in this situation. Like, is this a healthy situation? Um, because the Page of Wands, it just feels like, are they gonna improve? But at the same time, there's also the perspective of it was interesting, like it's not surprising that it doesn't have, I'm not saying this happens all the time, but sometimes when maybe you're dating somebody and there's like an age gap, I've I've like kind of noticed this, that if there's somebody that's younger, um, they kind of do this thing where I don't want to say they worship her energy, but they try, especially younger guys, and like maybe if there's even like a 5 year age gap, there's still the type of age gap. Um, because it feels like something where they're kind of proving themselves as being masculine. So there could be that thing too. And I'm not like, if whatever you want to do, I'm not judging, but it just seems like there's such a gap in something in their life. It could be experience, because you don't necessarily, just because you're older doesn't mean you have more experience, but there's just something. I'm not feeling like an age gap specifically, and if there is an age gap, it's not a right now. I don't feel like it's a big age gap that I'm getting, but um but with the Queen of Cups, it seems like she has something more developed than he does, or she does. You could, I'm not reading for genders either. And there could be like that protector energy that could be linking to the Queen of Cups, surprisingly, because sharks are in water and cups like water too. Um, so maybe being like Cancer energy, and Cancers generally, they can have like intense protecting type of nature to them. So it could be protecting yourself, it could be actually even protecting the Page of Wands from themselves too, because maybe there were certain um instances where it was just not um to their benefit, or it was something where they just were reacting so intensely to certain things, when maybe like when you get older you realize you don't need to react so much to certain things. I also have the Hanged Man too, and the Hanged Man, there's such a wisdom that comes from it, because again, with something not being maybe as emotionally fulfilling as you're initially thinking about it, but deep down when you're doing a deep dive of it, it's like there must be more than meets the eye with this. I feel like there's heavy um really shifts in perspective here, and I feel like that's what the biggest advantage is, and like the biggest thing when it comes to going into the new phase, because it's literally flipping something upside down. Like maybe your life is something that it was that you weren't thinking about at all, and then somehow it turned into this, and you're like, I don't even know what happened. It just this just happened. And so that could be like another thing linking to the Hermit too, because you have the Hermit that's really um maybe like to themselves, because there's something I'm getting, like also something to prove. So it could actually be linked to the obstacle of the Page of Wands, and it makes sense that that's in the obstacle, the Hermit's in the obstacle, and it being linked to the Page of Wands, because the Page of Wands maybe wanting to prove it to other people that he could do it or she could do it, maybe not knowing that much, but needing like the practice or the experience, because um, they just are not. There's just something that's not experienced, I feel like, with this energy. And the Hermit linking to Virgo, it's not necessarily, it doesn't have to be a young energy. It could be linked to maybe the Knight of Pentacles, which is not in this reading, but the Hermit is in here, and it has like that embodiment of Virgo energy too, linked to the Page of Wands. So there's something that really kind of cements or like grounds this Page of Wands in a way, which is I think a little unusual, but at the same time, like that mixture of energies makes sense for this, where they're trying to buckle down and be taken more seriously. And the way that you're taken more seriously is when um, maybe there's like effort that's put in, and maybe that it's not just that hyper focusing thing on just one thing. It's like sensing different things and like learning and doing. Um, there's like a bigger picture that comes into play when it comes to the Page of Wands, and there's something that just seems that um, the Queen of Cups, it looks like she's sticking around. This could be. I'm not getting it to be the same energy. So I feel like this energy kind of is. It almost feels like a buffer because me being in pharmacy, like I was thinking about buffered ascorbic acid, and you could get this as a supplement. And basically, it's like buffered vitamin C, and it's easier to stomach. So there's something that really tries to protect the Page of Wands while they go on this journey. So it could be the maternal instinct, but it could also be sounds weird to say that like one after the other with the sentence, but I don't feel like it's necessarily like family members in a way, but I feel like it's a caring energy is what I'm saying. So um Queen of Cups wanting to make sure that the Page of Wands um reaches that fulfillment and gets that experience, and the Queen of Cups seems strong enough to withstand those things because there's like a caring energy to where she wants to stick around to make sure that everything is okay. And if um she might have to heal herself within the process, but it seems like she knows how to tend to those things, and she knows how to navigate those waters to maybe not get burned. And if she does, she'll be able to bounce back. And also with the Queen of Swords energy, I think it links to that too. That could be like a more sensitive side of the Queen of Swords. Like if it's like together, um, they'll be able to work with this with um, reactions that won't escalate things, I would say, which I think is good for the already intense Page of Wands energy. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in another video.